The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Tuesday episode of Running Point. I forgot what day it was just for that moment. Tuesday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. As always, we are brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. They go the extra mile for you. I'm going to go ahead and put them in the top right-hand corner of the screen so you know where to go. If you are in the market for a newer used vehicle, it is time to check out Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. It is officially here. We are at the start of the regional tournaments in basketball. I'm sure you saw the news yesterday. We're going to get it out of the way. Unfortunately, we have been told, or we have been expressed, we cannot broadcast the regional semifinals, I believe we're finals, from the Canton Memorial Fieldhouse, because the NFHS has gotten video rights to that game. So those games, I should say. So those games will be exclusive on the NFHS network, and that's where you'll be able to find them. Unfortunately, we just aren't able to broadcast those games. We're still waiting on the Hoban game, I believe, taking place at Akron on Wednesday. But the games at the Canton Memorial Fieldhouse, that's JFK, that's Mooney, that's Ursuline, that's Canfield, we will unfortunately not be able to broadcast. That is not something we want, and we apologize for any inconvenience or hardship that might cause you. I know everyone likes the YSN broadcast, but nothing we can do about it. It's just one of the things that we have to adjust to. We're still going to have updates from the game. We're still going to have hopefully content from the game and with stats and recaps and all that fun stuff. But we will not be able to have broadcasts. And we're still going to talk about it tomorrow when JFK hopefully comes away with a win tonight against Dalton. That's a 8 o'clock approximately start time in the Canton Memorial Fieldhouse for that game. So that little bit of housekeeping is out of the way. We have a good show for you today. We're going to dive into some spring sports previews as well as we get ready for towards the biggest games in the basketball season. We also want to preview the upcoming spring sports season, and we thought there was no better way to jumpstart our previews of spring sports than to bring on the coach that won the state championship last year, our state champion from spring sports, Austin Town Fitch softball, Steve Ward. We literally just got off the interview with him about 10 minutes ago with me and Ty Bartell. So that's going to be a fun conversation to share with you guys. We will do that. We also have a player profile that we're going to play as well. I'm diving into the vault. Quincy Miller is going to be your player profile today. As she's one of our all-stars. Her graphic just went out last night. She will be at the All-Star game on March 24th representing Western Reserve. So we can't wait to have her there. And we had a chance to get a player profile with her before her season was over, and that will be featured on today's show as well. So we're going to start it off. We're going to hop right into our Coach's Corner with Steve Ward, preview the softball season from Austin Town Fitch. And I hope you enjoy this conversation with the reigning state champion of the softball world in the state of Ohio. Anthony Hartwig, Ty Bartell, we are here with our first spring sports preview of the season. And we had to start it all off with the state champion, returning state champion, Austintown Fitch. Whew. Steve Ward joins us, and I think he's still smiling from last June. I think he still is. Coach, how we doing today?
We are doing awesome. It's going to be 65 degrees and sunny out today for our scrimmage versus Ursuline. So we are blessed to be able to be outside on our field, get a scrimmage in, and really start this 23-24 season off proper.
We are going to go down your roster and preview the schedule and the season and all that fun stuff. But we have to talk about state championship last year. We really didn't get a chance to have a long conversation with you after that game. One of the things I want to ask off the top is what have been the last couple of months trying to transition from obviously celebrating a state championship to regathering and refocusing on, okay, and now that's kind of meaningless and we have to go do it again.
Well, I think that's the biggest question that everybody asks in the off season is, what do you do next? How do you separate one team from the next? Because that, 2023 championship team, holy mackerel, those seniors between Caitlin Mitchell, between Lauren Lannerman, Ashley McLean, Maddie Butis, and McKenna Hogan, while their leadership is so hard to replace, but we're back at it for the 24th season, and we have two seniors this year, and their senior leadership has been great, and it's filtered all the way down. So, we pretty much enjoyed the moment, and we enjoyed everything that Austintown and the surrounding communities did for us, and we're very thankful. We're very humbled by all the support that we got, and now it's time to change the chapter and write a new one and see what we can do.
It's refocusing. Ty, we're all refocused. We're ready for spring. So now it's time to just go through your roster. Let's break it down. Let's see who to expect out of Fitch and who you're expecting, obviously, huge seasons from.
Okay, so we're going to start with the people that were in or sitting on the bench of the state tournament team. And, back in the circle for her junior year is Sydney Watson, stronger than ever. And, leadership has gone through the roof because of now she's an upperclassman. And the experiences she went through during the summer, we cannot wait, to showcase her out there, both in the circle and in the box. And, behind her looking is Kylie Folkline, taking over that catcher's position. And that's a big role to fill with McKenna leaving. But, Kylie and honestly, Abby Toth, who is our first baseman, they're both vying for that position. Both are super strong, super powerful with their arms. And, we're excited to see that competition. Moving around the horn there, Sam Severn is looking to take over second base right now. And what a contact hitter she is, really puts the ball in play and has added some strength and, had a great basketball season along with Kylie Folkline. So we're excited for her. Another person that led the basketball team in a lot of statistical categories and leadership. And, by the way, a YSU commit and, probably had one of the biggest hits or plays in any sport in, sports history at Fitch is Ayla Ray. And she's returning for her senior season. Rachel Spalding, again, basketball player, had a phenomenal season. She's looking to come out into the outfield. And how could I ever forget Morgan Roby, just a firecracker, full of energy, contact percentage, 950, 960, 970, somewhere around that range. What a great tournament run she had. Lily Stevens is coming back stronger than ever, looking to take maybe a DP spot, some first base time. Miley Somerville and Juliana Farmer are looking to get some more pitching time this year. And that rounds out who was on the state tournament team. And we have some newcomers coming. And, one of them is Kayleana Ray, who is a two-sport letter winner already, both in volleyball and basketball. And what a statement she's making during her freshman campaign. Joining her is Miana Jorge, and she was coming off a JV season where she did really well, but really dedicated herself to getting stronger, dedicated herself to travel and hitting. Tommy Watts has been coaching her up on the side there, and she's really making a strong performance. Another person that came into our program this year is Vita Kelty, who is a senior, and she's looking as a left-handed pitcher to get some time and, good slap bunter, good person to put out there and create some havoc. Rounding out some of our younger kids is Annie Bada, Lexi Butis, Kylie Mitchell, Carly Chanel, and Veda Burt. They're all strong people in contention for coming off the bench and doing something. So we're really excited. And one thing of turning that page and stepping forward is creating a very competitive environment to where everybody knows spots are open and everybody knows that, hey, you're going to compete. And we've really embraced that.
Coach, you've also embraced that person over player mentality. And that's one thing I love about this team in particular is how their personalities are able to shine. We kind of know the character of each one of those kids. But going into this year, favorite for a repeat state champion, your Max Preps Ohio team of the year. You're in the top 10 nationally ranked. So with so much focus on the player aspect, how do you still keep that person over player mentality when it seems like all the news, all the outlets are really caring about the player aspect?
The wonderful thing about our team is they keep it kind of on the back burner. And, everybody knows that, maybe this came out or that came out. And we're very thankful for everything and the attention that we're getting to, our program, our players, and our community. For them, though, it's another day. We're putting our shoes on, we're getting to work. And, that's what I love about this team mentality that we have. It's, we're very excited for these rankings, but we also know that we have to show it out on the field. And to complement that in the person department is, we have those one-on-one conferences. We have those grade level conferences where we sit down and talk, where we do those mental health check-ins of, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Any big tests coming up? Or we do physical check-ins too. And, how's your arm today? Okay, everybody's arms are a little sore today. We're going to back off on the throwing. We'll adjust our practice plans on the fly. So it's a constant communication to let them know that we value them both on and off the field. And, the players value us as coaches both on and off the field as well.
All right, Coach, let's talk about this schedule, and it does not get any easier for you, and I think that's obviously on purpose. When you are a team that it has the dreams and aspirations that you have to test yourself. Man, get started with Canfield right off the jump, and then it doesn't get easier after that. Talk about your schedule. We'll start with the AAC. Canfield's not the only team in there. Boardman and Howland also very talented rosters. Warren Harding as well. Talk about your conference and what you expect out of it this year, trying to win it again.
Well, I tell you, Warren Harding always throws their bats out there. They're never afraid to step up and swing, and they're doing a heck of a job with their program out there year in and year out. They're becoming progressively better, and that's a compliment to their coach. Boardman, Coach Moots, I have all the respect in the world for him and what he does out there in Boardman. And he has Torrey Strines returning and Davies returning, I believe. And then he's got kind of a newer crop of varsity players. And knowing Coach Moots, he's going to have them ready. There's no doubt. Out in Howland, I think they're going to be a team that makes some noise, very much so, especially after their previous scrimmage. And, I've heard nothing but great things about Brooke Tater coming through the offseason, working hard, getting better, getting stronger. And, they're going to be a tough team for sure. And like you said, on the spotlight, right out the gate is Canfield, for our second and third game. And from all reports, they're rocking and rolling again, too. And we're excited to see them. And we're thankful for such great competition early on.
I joked with you before the season started. I was like, hey, you guys got to play Canfield at YSU under the lights because you're going to run out of time, We want you guys to play into the night. It should be a primetime showdown. But, yeah, that's going to be fun. Ty, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're good, brother. You're good. Coach, we're going to talk about that the rest of the schedule as well, and it looks like you got a lot of those similar non-conference opponents that you're featuring. But one thing that's similar again, a lighter schedule than what we usually see in the softball realm, and it's kind of one of your mentalities, coaching mentalities, to kind of lighten up the schedule, and it's starting to kind of gain traction amongst other teams too. Obviously, because of the success. What are you seeing from the non-conference schedule this year, and how it's going to prepare you for a tournament run?
Well, in the out-of-conference schedule, we start out with Lakeview, and, they have a really good pitcher-catcher combo out there. And Baxter, I got to coach her in the YSN All-Star game, and what a talent she is. And, really excited for that. And then we go down to Myrtle Beach for 5 games. And, we played one state champion, one regional team, and, a few others. So our competition down there is really tough, and we really enjoy it. And then we have Paynesville Riverside. What a great relationship with Coach Ross out there. They always bring a well-coached team. We're actually headed to them this year. Same thing with Aurora. Petrash is back on the mound, and she's still committed to Kent State. And then, to finish out kind of the big season is Champion again. And Coach Weaver is just a class act of a coach, and she always has her team ready to go. And to comment, Ty, in terms of, we're allowed 27 games, and, right now I want to say we're scheduled at 19 to 20. And so then you look at, the tournament games included, you could be up to 27 if everything goes, hopefully well and everything. And then you look at 27 games on a pitcher's arm and players' arms. the mentality of getting up, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week, because high school ball, if you get some bad weather, you could be playing 6 games a week. And that is very mentally and physically taxing on the girls. And we just don't see the benefit of trying to stack a schedule and get 27 games in and, do double headers on the weekends. Like I said, we really try to, honor our team and the hard work that they do and make sure that they get 2 days off a week. That's a priority for us. And it really stresses me out if, we can't do that, because again, you're looking at high school is a marathon where it starts in February and then ends at the beginning of June. And, we want to be our strongest in the end of May and beginning of June.
The other thing I see, Coach, is it gives you a little bit of wiggle room, right? So if something's going on in the season, you realize your team needs a little bit more reps, or maybe there's a big gap because of weather between the end of the regular season and the tournament, you have games left to schedule that you can call up coaches and be like, hey, we have 20 games, we can get one in, and we're not even close to the OHSA regulation. So if you need an extra game or a couple extra games, you have plenty of wiggle room to go and grab them if you need them for whatever reason. Does that also benefit you?
Oh, absolutely. Because then, you're not locked into something to say, well, I have 26 games. I could, do I want to fit one here, if, before districts or before regionals or, in between the semi-regional and the regional final. It gives you all that sorts of opportunity. And, it just allows us to dictate what we want to do. And I think that's the biggest thing is we try to make sure that, again, we honor our players and everything that they do and schoolwork on top of it, because we have so many kids in NHS or going to be in NHS that it's a grind. So we want to respect them as much as possible.
I want to give you the chance to shout out the rest of your coaching staff. I know not a lot of changes in that. It's always you're bringing back a great crew, but coincide with introducing us to your coaching staff too. Also, just let us know about, after a state championship win, does the task work for a coach double? Does it triple? Like what is it going into this season for you and the rest of your coaches?
I tell you what, our coaching staff, we love them to death. We've been together for such a long time. And, we truly respect and love one another, to the fact that, any opinions we listen to and, we go with it. So, our hitting coach, Bobby Jones, he's been with me 14, 15 years. And, the girls call him Grandpa because he's a grandpa now, and he sometimes looks a little grumpy. And, he does a heck of a job just kind of managing the kids in the box and little tweaks here and there. And then, Coach Becky Spalding, again, I told you guys last year that I think she could be a college level pitching coach and go somewhere big if she wanted to. And we're so fortunate to have her here. And, that sentiment remains true is, we're lucky to have such an experienced coach there. And then Coach Nicole Fiddler, what a dominant person she is in terms of creating travel leagues. She does a great job in our outfield for us, gets those girls ready, and she really does a great job managing the dugout and all the personalities in that dugout. So when you see some of the craziness, she's the one that has to either say, okay, hey, we need to turn it up, or the bad messages, we need to turn it down just a little bit. We're getting yelled at by the umpires or something. And, JV wise, we have Jerry Bruff, and, they come up to varsity. We all work together, and also volunteering as Rich Raymer, just, an all around great crew. And, someone we added on this year as part high school coach and then in charge of developing our youth program is Tommy Watts. And we're really trying to get that together and really not create like a league or just a camp, but we want something on a weekly basis that these kids could come to and get great instruction and development. So we're really excited for that prospect and opportunity that we're trying to work forward with.
Big fan of Tommy Watts too. Big Absolutely. Fan of him as a person as well overall.
He's a spark plug, man. When you look at the pitchers that Coach Spalding has coached, you might just call her a college coach anyway. I mean, everyone knows Lydia's doing her thing at Penn State. Obviously had a great weekend last weekend, and
yes.
And Sid's going D1 in the ACC. So you might as well just say, for all intents and purposes, she's a college pitching coach anyway. Coach, I want to ask, this is going to be a question that's going to be scary to a lot of the people that have played you guys for the last 2 years.
Okay.
Great players find ways to always be better, get better, improve on something. In what ways has Sydney Watts gotten better or found ways to improve?
We talked about, last year I was so excited to see her maturity process of just both physically getting more mature and mentally getting more mature. because that's the aspect you want to see, is that growth. So what I'm really impressed about, obviously her physical skill is phenomenal, and her speed, which I'm not going to say, just regularly pitching is just phenomenal, just when she isn't even trying hard on it. And so her physical development has been great. Her mental development has been great. Like I said earlier, we're really looking forward to her taking on a leadership position this year, that she's an upperclassman. She is, a big time D1 commit. And, obviously she controls the ball every pitch. So, seeing her development and just become that one more step to a college player is just amazing. And she puts in the work all the time. She goes to her pitching coach Ed Beavers all the time, and works with Becky all the time, and it's amazing to see how she's just developing even stronger.
One player I want to highlight, I know you mentioned her too, but I mean, I've been quoted as saying one of my favorite high school athletes, period. Ayla Ray, coming back this year, senior year, one of the best swings, one of the best, I think, all-around hitters I've ever seen in high school softball. What's it mean coming back her senior year? What improvements have you seen in her swing? And I mean, I'm sure that's scary for opposing pitchers as well.
Well, I tell you what, she is just so strong right now, and she is a leader through and through. You look at the smoothness she has out on the field. Like I said, I have no doubt that she's the best shortstop in all of Ohio, and I'm really excited for her to continue her career at YSU. And in the box, like you said, Ty, is there a better two-strike hitter? Just someone that is calm, cool, knows how to manage her at bats when she gets a little bit down in the count, which isn't too often. And then if a pitcher misses a pitch and tries to come middle in on her, whoops, she got that power to rock and roll.
Don't do it. Scout report. Don't leave it middle in.
Please do it.
No, do it. If you're coach board, do it. If you're any other coach, maybe not. Maybe not
toss
try
yesterday, and so throwing front toss to the kids, and oh boy, we always try to work outside on our kids, outside, and my arm's getting tired, and so I just throw one inside, and oh my God, she crushed it. It almost went over our scoreboard, and I was like, yeah, I missed the inside pitch on that one. And
missed.
So yeah,
I think it was Mr. Spot, coach.
Yeah, I did.
I'm sure you heard it from your pitching staff.
Oh, they let me know.
I want to talk about the new battery. Obviously, last 2 years, McKenna Hogan and Sydney Watts, their relationship has been talked about. It was so good. Kylie Folkwine, a great catcher, catches a lot of great pitchers in her travel leagues. What have you seen from their relationship even growing even more now as a new battery?
I mean, they've known each other for, over 10 years now, that they've been around each other. So the relationship is forming quickly. The bond is forming quickly. They're starting to get to know the nuances of each other. And that's the biggest thing, is to where you have to know, what the other player wants. And that's just a relationship that develops on the field. It takes time. So, any new relationship, you're going to see some things that, maybe you didn't see when kids know each other for 2-3 years. But that's fine. That's all the process. And I think one of the biggest things that, Kylie brings is an understanding of the game as well, because she's a mature player too. And, Sid's maturity, I think you're going to see a great time out there. And also don't discount Abby Toth. She's going to get behind that play too. And she's a strong person as well. And, in the off season, while Kylie was playing basketball, Abby caught Sid quite a bit and did an excellent job with that as well. So we're excited to have some depth and to be able to do that.
Coach, I'm excited to get back out to the ball field and see the team this year get up in the perch. I also want to give you the opportunity to give one more shout out to the Fitch softball and YSN super fan. He sits up in the perch with me, Googs, Bob Gugliotti, your PA announcer. He's there with you guys every step of the way too. I wanted you to give him some love too for the Fitch softball team.
I tell you what, I don't think anybody knows Fitch lore, not just softball, but Fitch lore overall, than Bob Googs. He is, I've seen him at almost every volleyball game, every basketball game. He is all around, and he'll be able to tell you Fitch history like nobody else, as I'm sure you're aware, Ty. And he just comes down because he just loves being a part of it and loves being around the team and announcing the games. And we're very thankful to have him because, the kids all love and respect him. We're welcoming him back for another season, and we can't wait.
And he follows your league, coach. And one of my favorite things about you is supporting all the athletes across the YSN family. Compete against them all you want, but at the end of the day, you guys care about the athletes down there at Fitch. And Bob Gugliotti is always commenting on everything YSN posts, whether it be Fitch or someone else. And we love that you guys take the time to support all the athletes across the YSN family.
Well, I tell you what, we know so much what these athletes go through with, again, their travel schedules, their individual coaches, their high school. Many of these girls that I know, they're in honors classes or AP classes or CCP classes, getting that college credit. So, they put a full day in at school, go to practice for 2 hours or longer, come home, and they got about 3-4 hours of homework and then try to have a social life. So seeing how these kids just succeed over and over and over and over. They say success leaves clues. Look to a lot of the kids in the YSN family that you guys shout out all the time in all sports, and you're going to see common denominators. And that's what we point to with, some of our athletes, especially our younger ones, to say, look to our older girls that have a lot of success. And maybe not just success in a batting average wise, but success in life. And they know the direction and they know where they're going, because that leaves clues on how to be successful.
It's the reason why every year we have at least somebody in the state championship in some sport of YSN, and every season, I should say, not every year, every season. That's even more incredible. Had state champion wrestlers, had state championship bowlers, now hopefully a couple of state champion softball teams and baseball teams as well as track runners coming into the spring season. Steve, thank you for opening the door into the spring season with our first preview. We wish you the best of luck this year. We can't wait to talk to you real soon.
Always love talking to you guys and can't wait to see you guys live. And, good luck to all the spring sports out there. Wishing you nothing but the best.
That was Steve Ward, head coach of the Austintown Fitch softball team, as they gear up to run it back and try to get back to Firestone for another state championship. They won it last year. One of 3 teams that made it to the state tournament and 2 teams that made it to the state finals. So we're excited for softball season to see if those teams can get back, if we can have more teams in Firestone Stadium this year for state tournament hopes. So got a lot of good softball in the YSN family, and Steve Ward is just the tip of the iceberg. We will continue our spring sports previews in the next couple of weeks. We'll try to get as many coaches on as possible to talk about their roster and their season and their schedule and all the things to expect from all the teams of the YSN family. But we had to get it started with the state champ, with the reigning state champ, and a team that is favored to maybe go and do it again. They're ranked number 7 in the country in high school softball. So Austintown Fitch, a lot of good things happening down there in the Falcons Nest for their softball team. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we have a player profile to get to. One of our all-stars, someone that's going to be a boardman on March 24th, representing Western Reserve, Quincy Miller, and that will be featured after this commercial break on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Anthony Hartwig here with a Western Reserve girls basketball player profile right ahead of the district championship the Blue Devils will be playing in on Saturday. Quincy Miller, sophomore for the Blue Devils. Quincy, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Yep, thank you for having me.
What a whirlwind this has been for you guys. Last year, you win the district championship as a freshman. Here you come right back. You're right back in the district championship. Talk about the last 2 years and what it's been like for you to have so much success.
Yeah, last year was definitely more of a learning experience as a freshman, just because, as a freshman, you always are learning things. And I feel like this year I've became more of a role in our team, and I feel like I have contributed a lot this year, way more than last year. And, I wouldn't have gotten that, the knowledge that I've had without my last year's teammates, like my leaders like Brooke Shantz really helped me with that, and I just feel like looking up to them really helped me with this year too.
And talk about this season, because like you said, Brooke Shantz graduates and she was one of the best scorers to come through Western Reserve, and maybe a lot of people from the outside looking in on this program thought without her maybe this Blue Devils team is in a struggle, or maybe they won't get to where they got last year. But you guys never bought into that. What was it like this year having new players step up into bigger roles, including yourself?
Yeah, I think Olivia Hughes, she had to, take over the point guard position a little more, which she wasn't really obviously used to. We used her more as, a post last year. But she's been doing a great job with handling the ball. She's learned a lot, and I think I was kind of the second man ball handler this year, just because we didn't have Brooke there. So I think me and her have learned a lot just with handling the ball more, keeping our composure, and just, getting that first pass off to start our offense.
Yeah, let's talk about just kind of the things you did to prepare for this year. Like you just said, you knew coming in that you were going to be asked more mentally and physically. What were some things that you did to prepare for that and to get yourself comfortable in the role that you were going to play this year?
Yeah, obviously my dad's my coach, so we kind of live in the gym a lot. So just simple things like shooting on the gun, and working with my teammates. We always get, a few days in the summer, obviously, June, scrimmages, all that. So we definitely put in the work in the summer, and I enjoy going up to the school and shooting, just putting my headphones in and, just getting a couple hundred shots up every now and then. And it definitely contributes to my game and helps a lot.
You gave us a great segue to talk about your dad being the head coach. Obviously, he's been there for a while, and he coached your sister as well. What's it been like having him along this journey so far, and talk about that dynamic between dad and coach that you guys get to have?
Yeah, my dad has always been really my coach, just from learning from when I was little, watching my older siblings play. He's just, even though he never coached my brothers, he always really kind of coached them off the court. So he's always, giving us knowledge and just telling his perspective about the game. And in the long run, when I step on the court, he's not my dad, he's my coach. And, I get treated just like any other player. And, as soon as I step off, I'm his daughter and he's my dad. So I feel like we set that boundary, and we communicate good together, and yeah, we have a good relationship.
What's it like being able, though, to go home with someone that you can talk about the game with even more? You can bring up film, and he's right there to ask questions if you want to say, hey, what did I do here? Or what happened in this play and things like that. What's that been like for you? What kind of advantage is it for you to be able to have that resource so close, obviously to you at home?
Yeah. After every game, we, come home and he's already loading up the computer and, looking at film. And I actually enjoy watching film because I just like to break everything down. And, he tells me what I need to do, like you said. And I feel like that has helped just, to get him, or to get his perspective, kind of in my head. He knows so much about the game, and, just to kind of have that whenever I need it, ask him whatever. It's honestly great, and it's helped me, tremendously throughout these past 2 years. So yeah, it just is a huge help in my game.
Maybe he didn't get to coach your brothers, but he did get to coach your older sister, Kennedy, who was on YSN for a while. And we got to see that relationship blossom as she graduated. every player is different and how they want to be coached. Do you think you and Kennedy are kind of the same way and how you want Coach Miller to coach you as a coach, or do you think you have different tendencies and you want to be coached in different ways?
I feel like me and my oldest sister are more alike, more than me and Kennedy, especially on the basketball court, just because I feel like Kennedy was, the main point guard, and so far, that's not my role really. But I think when it comes to like our relationship with our dad, I think it's a lot of the same, just going to get over things with him and, just relating to love the game with each other. So, yeah.
Let's talk about your relationship with your sister. Obviously, she's been where you've been, and she's been through the whole program. What kind of advice has she given you over the last 2 years to help you in your career?
Yeah, she's a great supporter. She's like my number one fan. She always texts me, before and after the games, which is, great to have. And she's also like another coach for me. I think I can learn, and, I have learned a lot from her already. And she knows, so much about the game just from playing and, learning from my dad. So I think any advice from both of them is great and, a good advantage for me to have, and just to know that they're always there for me.
Do you guys ever get competitive with each other?
Yeah.
What do you compete about? Like, what are some of the things that you really get competitive over?
I mean, I feel like my whole family is pretty competitive in general, just like with, family games and just all that. We're, play basketball in the summer with each other, me and my brother. And, I feel like we're all just kind of competitive.
Obviously, you're wearing that same number, keeping that 30 alive. Was that something that you consciously wanted to do to make sure to keep that in the family? Or was there ever a thought that said, maybe I want a different number to stand alone and get out of my sister's shadow a little bit? Or did you always want to be 30?
I mean, I had 30 in middle school, kind of, like following along with my sister, kind of. But I have thought about it, like at my freshman year, if I wanted to change my number. But I decided, to stick with 30 because, I don't know, it just feels right.
Something about being in a district championship feels right as well. What kind of lessons are you taking from the experience of being there last year into this game? We've already talked about the bigger role that you have this year and some of the ways you stepped up, but now as we're getting ready for the district championship, what's that like between last year and this year, and what are you taking from last year's game?
Like I said earlier, I mean, last year was definitely, I was more of a bench player. But in the district championship last year, I did start, just due to a lot of the injuries that we had last year. And I mean, I definitely had to step up last year. And I think me and my teammate Kylie both learned a lot last year, from being freshmen on the bench and just learning, like I said, from our leaders that we had. And I feel like it's definitely going to help with, this upcoming game in the district championship because we felt the atmosphere, we felt, the feeling of it all. So I feel like it's really going to help us in the long run.
All right, we've talked about the steps you've taken from freshman to sophomore years on the basketball court. What about in the classroom? Everyone kind of says that jump from freshman to sophomore year is the hardest in school. Have you felt that in your personal experience, or has it been the opposite? Have you been kind of, harder in freshman year than sophomore?
I feel like freshman year was kind of easy, but this year, yeah, it definitely has gotten a little bit harder. Obviously, we have a lot more like tests and like state tests towards the end of the year, which is always not fun to do. But other than that, it's just been, yeah, a little bit harder, a little bit tougher, a little more harder to handle. But I'm getting through it. So.
Two-sided question. What's your favorite subject? The one that maybe you don't have to spend as much time on because it comes a little bit more natural to you. And then on the other side, what's the one that you think you have to work the hardest at and doesn't come as naturally to you?
I feel like my strongest is probably like English. I don't know. I feel like I enjoy reading sometimes. I mean, it has to be a good book, but I feel like I'm a decent writer, but I definitely struggle in math a lot. I don't really, that's definitely something I have to put my time towards more.
Are you a big reader if it's a book that you're interested in?
I mean, I'm not the type to just like have a book in my hand all the time, but I mean, if it's a good book, yeah, I'll enjoy it.
What do you think is your favorite book that you've been assigned to read throughout your schooling career?
Oh gosh, I have no idea. We really just read like boring stuff in school, I feel like.
That's a call out to the English teachers at Western Reserve. Pick better books for Quincy. When you think of teachers, I know we just kind of jokingly put a little bit of them on blast, but when you think about teachers that have meant a lot to you in your first 2 years and teachers that have really helped you through the process, who comes to mind?
I had Miss Hughes my freshman year for algebra, and she was a great teacher. I always struggled with math, and she actually helped me a lot, but I don't have her this year. But yeah, she was definitely a huge help to my math, and she helped me understand it a lot more.
All right, now that you're gearing up for next season, we still have to finish this year, but next year you're going to be an upperclassman. You're going to be asked to be even more of a leader. How much have you leaned on the seniors this year to teach you how to lead and what to expect next year when you're asked for a lot more leadership responsibilities?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's kind of the same situation that me and Olivia faced last year with, losing Brooke, knowing that we had to step up to handle the ball. So I feel like me and Kylie are going to go through the same thing in the next year, just, losing Olivia because she's done such a great job handling and being our point guard, really. And, I think, Lisa and Angelina and Kaylee, they all contribute to the team so much. And I feel like, when we're down, we all kind of lean on them and, they get us back in it. But I feel like me and Kylie have, learned and experienced so much from them that I feel like we can take that experience and knowledge and, use that towards the next 2 seasons.
You've already been able to accomplish so much in the first 2 years of high school, going for your second straight district championship. What are you the most proud of so far that you've been able to do in your first 2 years as a basketball player at Western Reserve?
I mean, last year's district championship was just so surreal. It was an amazing feeling just, be there and win with my teammates. That was 100% my favorite memory and goal that we wanted to do. And it was just amazing to experience that my freshman year. And, it's definitely taught me a lot. And I feel like, yeah, it was just a great time. And that team, I mean, that was a really special team to me. We were really close. And yeah, I just hope to, bring another one home.
What are some goals that you still have for your personal self before your career is over? What are some things on that goal board that you want to achieve before you graduate?
I feel like the 3-point record in a game, I feel like me and Kylie both kind of want that. So, we're both shooters. So I feel like my sister's held it before. So to break her record would be good.
It's a race to the record for you and Kylie. I like it. Before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to thank all the people that are in your corner. I know we've shouted out a couple of them already, but I want you to just, again, take the time to take the spotlight off yourself for a minute and shine on the people that are in your corner, that your support system, the people that you wouldn't be here without.
Obviously my family, they're here after every single game, they come support me every game. So I wouldn't be anywhere without them. Obviously, all my coaches, they all help me in so many different ways. Coach King, Coach Capabianca, and Coach Eicher, and obviously my dad. And lastly, my teammates. I mean, obviously, we have to work as a team to get to this point. And I feel like, yeah, I wouldn't be anywhere without them. So,
Quincy, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight after practice. I know it's been a long day for you, but we appreciate the time right before the district championship game. We wish you the best of luck, and we can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Yep, thank you.
All right, that was Quincy Miller of Western Reserve, and she will be at the All-Star Game on March 24th. Come check her out and a bunch of other YSN athletes. She'll be representing Western Reserve, and we can't wait to have her and the rest of the great players that are going to be on our All-Star Game. Graphics are being released as we speak. They've been, swimming through our social media accounts, so make sure to go check out our Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter for those graphics and see who's going to be in the All-Star Game. We will also obviously formally release the roster once everyone is all squared away. We want to get the graphics out first, but we will also be putting a post up as content on the website to say, hey, here's our roster, and we'll also break them into teams and all that fun stuff with more info for players and coaches. Hopefully by the end of the weekend, that would be a week before the All-Star Game. We're just just a little bit over 7 days. I mean, Sunday's going to be 1 week away from the All-Star game. That's exciting, sir. Our way of putting a little bit of a bow on the hoop season before we transition into baseball, softball, and track. So let's hop into the scoreboard and check out our one game of the night tonight. Want to remind everybody that it will not be broadcasted on YSN due to NFHS being, having the video rights to this game. So we have been blocked out. We will have our ace photographer, Gary Leininger, in attendance, so we'll have great pictures from tonight's game. You can find them on our Smug Mug. And then we will also have, of course, a recap from the game as well. Dalton versus Warren JFK. This is going to be an interesting matchup when you look at Dalton's schedule, and especially their tournament run. To get here, they beat two teams that Warren JFK is very familiar with. They beat Mogador in the district semifinals, 57-46, and then they beat Lake Center Christian in the district championship, 59-52. Those are both teams that Warren JFK played twice, and the way those games went, kind of inconsistent a little bit. JFK beat Mogador the first time they played. That was at home, and they beat them up 73-42 was the final score. I'm sorry, 72-43 was the final score. Then the first time they played Lake Center Christian, a little bit later on in the season, that was on the road. They won there 80-63. So two-handed wins over those two. You go, oh man, okay, Dalton won against them too. This should be a favorable matchup. But then when you look at the latest matchups between Mogador and Lake Center, they lost to Mogador on the road in the second meeting by 10, 63-53. They lost to Lake Center Christian at home, 69-65. So, those are two teams that Warren JFK was very familiar with, and I'm sure they can watch that film and kind of see what things they did against Dalton that they can kind of say, okay, this works, this doesn't work. Hey, we can do this against this team, because personnel-wise, they know exactly what those two teams in Mogador and Lake Center Christian are capable of. And it's not like they got blown out of the water by Dalton. They did some good things. They did plenty of executing well things. Mogador lost by 9, and Lake Center Christian lost by 4. So I think JFK can learn a lot from those two films in preparation for this game. Dalton comes in with a record tonight, 16 wins, and they have 16 wins and 9 losses, 10-4 in the conference. Look at some of the other games they played. They played Lake Center Christian in the regular season as well. Lost to them in the regular season. That was their third game of the year, 64-55. And I believe those are the only two common opponents that these two teams have. A big win against Smithville towards the end of the season, 56-41. That's kind of one of those eye-popping victories for Dalton. Lost 2 in a row to Norwayne and Columbia. Those are two really good powerhouses there. Before that, they were on a 6-game winning streak over Rittman, Northwestern, Central Catholic, Cloverleaf, Hillsdale, Doylestown, Chippewa. That's an impressive win, 66-54. So yeah, they've had stretches of really good basketball this year, but just like JFK, just some hiccups here and there where they look a little inconsistent. I think JFK's had a couple of those stretches in their season too. Looking at JFK stats, I've been talking about them all year. They have so many ways to beat you, and I think their numbers really spell that out. They have 4 players averaging double figures, and they are led by Nick Ryan, who averages 19. And then you have Michael Gondolin, who averages 16.1. You have Jaden Richel, who averages 14.6. And then you have Nico Samarino, who averages 10.1. So 4 players that are averaging double figures. That is really hard to defend. JFK averages 71.5 points per game. If they have one of those games, I'm looking at Dalton's schedule and their score results not a particularly high-scoring team. They don't get in the 70s too often. They had a stretch where they got in the 70s 3 out of 4 times, but outside of that, I don't see any more 70 scores on their schedule. So they're not a huge high-scoring team. I think they probably like to be a little bit more defensive, and you see that in their scores in the tournament with 57-46, 59-52. They want to keep it in that mid-60s, high 50s, low 50s kind of range. If JFK plays their offense and scores their average, I think Dalton's going to have a really hard time keeping up with that pace of play. But obviously, they're going to try to slow it down. So I think this game's going to come down to what team controls tempo, what team takes advantage of those opportunities they get that I think both of them are going to have, because they're both pretty good basketball teams with a lot of talent on their roster. So I think they're both going to have their opportunities to take a little bit of control and take the tempo of this game. So it's going to be really interesting to see which one does. JFK is built for this stage. These players have been there before. They've played in the regionals before. Dalton has too. Dalton's a powerhouse. So when it comes to experience on the big stage, I don't think that's going to be a factor either way. I think it's going to be pretty even. Everything points to a pretty even basketball game today. Like I said, I think it's just going to come down to tempo. Can JFK score at their rate, or does Dalton slow the game down to a more defensive, slow basketball game? I think if it's in the 70s, JFK is golden. I think if it gets in the 60s and the 50s, that's when you see it get kind of more of a toss-up. If for some reason it gets below 50s, it's definitely advantage Dalton. Anytime you get into that low scoring of a game, it's advantage to the more defensive team. So I think it should be interesting. I think JFK's got a solid chance, though, to advance into the regional finals. Let's look at the bracket real quick as well in the regional. Warren JFK is in region. Sorry, I just lost it on my phone. They're in region 13. They're going to play the winner of Seneca East and Richmond Heights, who play each other right before them tonight at 6 o'clock. So the winner of Dalton and Warren JFK plays the winner of Seneca East and Richmond Heights. I think Richmond Heights, just because of their tournament experience, I would be surprised if they didn't win that game. So you might see a Richmond Heights Warren JFK matchup in the regional finals with a trip to Dayton on the line. Hopefully that's what we're rooting for. JFK is a YSN team. We're definitely hoping they get through to the regional finals, I should say. They're already in regionals. It's crazy to think all of our teams are just 4 wins away from a state championship. The hardest wins they're going to get all year, but still 4 games away from a state championship. We'll see how their journey started. All tips off tonight, 8 o'clock in Canton. Warren JFK versus Dalton. One more reminder that YSN's broadcast rights are not going to be available because the NFHS has their video stream up and running. So we will not be there broadcasting. But if you're down there, make sure to say hi to Gary Leininger, our ace photographer. He'll be getting great shots down there. And we'll also have the scoreboard updated and a recap after the game as well. So make sure to stay tuned to ysnlive.com for all that fun stuff after the game is over. I want to thank you all for tuning in today to Running Point. It is a Tuesday edition, and that'll do it for today's show. Tomorrow is Wrestling Wednesday, which means we get to celebrate not 1, but 2 state champions in wrestling. They will both be on the show. Keegan Sell will be on the show for the 2nd straight year as he wins his 2nd straight state championship for Garrettsville Garfield. Remember last year he was Garfield's first state champion, and now he's obviously the first back-to-back state champion as well. And then we will also have from East Liverpool, Micaiah Newlam, who will be on the show as well, as she is now a state championship trophy getter for the Potters. She'll be on the show. Chris Colucci will be on the show. Gary Altizer will be on the show as well. Going to be a fun season finale for Wrestling Wednesdays with Gary Altizer. Come back tomorrow for that. 1 to 2 is our time, as always, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much once again for tuning in to Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet.